Here we have friend of the host.
Friend of the podcast, Damien
Chapka.
Walked in with an ID badge, probably from the government job he has to get him through the door.
Oh.
This is our friend Damien. This is Todd Fisher, owner of Gods and Monsters. Damien was at the grand opening and sat with us. This is our friend Brian, who also comes to the podcast. This is Damien.
How are you doing?
We all went to school together, and I asked Damien if you were not going to get a seat or a ticket for the movie, did you get a ticket for tonight? He just came down to hang out with us.
So wait, was he part of the fraternity?
He was.
Get out! We were just talking about the fraternity earlier.
We build lifelong relationships.
Wow,
Yeah, we were just discussing
this is
it
weird
earlier.
for me. I
can't-
don't have these kind of connections in my life.
I
I don't
can't
have a
plug
friend
this
that's more
in,
than
can
4
I?
months old.
Said the king of the geeks.
Friendship that's more.
It's because you're a business owner.
That's
that's
right.
true. That's
you
true.
can't necessarily afford to have
That's
long
right.
relationships.
I
with
buy
people.
and sell people like you every day.
You should.
That's not true.
So
I
tell me
don't.
what you're seeing outside. Was there a lot of lines, a lot of costumes? Are you seeing anything? Oh,
A
street
lightsaber
performers,
deal.
lightsaber duels. That's
man.
very good.
We gotta figure out a way
I
to get
gotta
him
figure
on
out
a
a way to get him a
microphone.
microphone. I want to.
That one's not gonna. That's not gonna work.
You said you couldn't get that to work no matter what. You
No.
want to put that between the two of you?
Yeah,
'Cause
sure,
It's
that's
a
great.
very strong microphone.
Hell yeah, it is. Hell yeah, it is.
Looks strong.
Here we go. Look at the size. Look at the
Yes.
size of that thing.
See, we're already. Oh,
Got the
very
chatter
good.
red,
Star
too.
Wars
It's
reference.
got an afro.
I gotta keep it going.
So we've been talking a lot about, of course, about Star Wars and our experiences going to the theaters. And Damien, tell us what kind of memories you have of seeing any of the earlier Star Wars movies in the theaters. Do you have any?
I have to say I did enjoy seeing. I do not remember seeing the original Star Wars in the theater. I was a little too young for that.
77,
but,
yes.
77.
A young 5-year-old Damien Chapka.
I did see both Empire and Return of the Jedi in the theater.
I remember
and
very
those
well.
experiences were, just as they are going to be tonight. I think they were life-changing for me.
Now, did you have the same opinions going into the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones? Were you hopeful that you were going to have the same sort of experience?
I was hopeful that I was going to enjoy that type of experience. I was
And the reality was
disappointing, to say the least.
Sure.
through all three, or was what?
I think it got a little better.
what
It
was
got
your-
a little better.
I'd have to say the Phantom Menace, the first one. I think if you watch the series in the machete order, they even eliminate that one, so you don't even need to watch that to get the whole story.
Right.
Sure.
So the third one, obviously, with Anakin fully committing to the dark side, was the highlight of those three.
I
The lightsaber.
preferred that as well.
The lightsaber battle we were all waiting
Revenge
for.
of the Sith
Absolutely,
is
lightsaber
definitely
battle.
the
See
best.
how Obi-Wan,
I think
leaves,
it's-
Yoda leaves.
I think it's unfair to say
I should have brought
I want to
my
have
Lando
the same
Calrissian
experience
still
in
in
a
the
film at 30
It's
that
true.
I had at 5 years old.
It's true. We
I-
are unfair.
Yeah.
And I've heard you say this before that you've made your
Hold on.
You've made your peace with those movies. I've heard you say that before.
I
I have, and I am accepting as well. Star Wars as a whole, and I accept it as a whole.
But time out. So Lucas makes 3 films in the late 70s and early 80s for children.
No, he actually makes one film
For
and
children.
For children, and then the other two are helmed by other people altogether.
But they're still sort of for children.
Oh, yeah,
right.
no doubt.
And then 17 years later, he goes back to the well and makes 3 more
Three of them.
films for children. But he
Sure.
missed the mark on that because the majority of his rabid fan base are not children anymore.
That's
now
right.
we're adults, and we want adult stories. We want adult films. Well, not adult films, but,
They're
Grown
both
up.
fans of Star Wars.
grown-up films, yeah.
I think
And
I think that is an angle that could be explored further.
I don't think any of us appreciated being talked down to and seeing slapstick and whatever the fuck Jar Jar Binks was. I don't think we appreciated that. And this
He
and,
was a Gungan.
Oh, okay.
You're racist.
How racist was that? I mean,
So racist.
If-
So racist. It
if
was
you really want to pick that apart.
remarkably so.
Anyway,
Remarkably
it was disappointing to me, and I kept hoping that the next film would be more directed toward a more mature audience, a mature theme, a mature writing, and it just never really materialized until like the last 30 minutes of what was
Revenge
the
of the
third?
Sith.
Revenge of the Sith. The last 30 minutes where I was like, okay, finally, we're getting something that is slightly adult.
He's
Thoughts?
killing kids.
Yeah,
oh my
well,
God, he's killing kids.
killing younglings. Yes, I think you might feel that way because the last 30 minutes helps tie into the original series, you know, the New Hope.
Sure.
And I think that, you know, that's what we were looking for the entire early ones. And by seeing that in the last 30 minutes, that kind of helped make that bridge that gap for us. So that's why most people might enjoy the Return of the Sith more than the other two.
Yes. Yes.
I just feel like he really missed the mark
Oh, absolutely.
on what should have been.
And you know why? Another reason why he missed the mark is who was going to question him? Who was going to second guess him? Who was going to say, you know what? Let's take a step back here. This scene, it's all green screen. This is kind of ridiculous. And I've seen the behind-the-scenes footage of Queen Amidala. Just forgot her name.
Natalie
Padme?
Portman.
Natalie Portman in the scene where she looked like she was going through the wacky conveyor belt or jump over this and dick dump. Right, exactly. That's the song that was in my head. And she was rehearsing it, and she was giggling, looking at George Lucas, going, "Oh, this is so ridiculous." And he says, "Don't worry, it's going to look good."
And it didn't.
Nobody was going to question him.
But it didn't look good.
But this
looked like a Bugs Bunny cartoon when she was doing it.
right.
But this is a very good question, though. Yes, I think that the prequel suffered from Lucas being, I'm George Lucas and nobody can tell me no.
Right.
But on the other hand, we've all seen terrible, terrible movies made by committee and notes from the studio.
Or when the studio gets in the way.
Right,
Yes.
yeah. So
And clearly it wasn't a complete mistake because it made $1 billion.
Right.
So it wasn't a complete fail mistake.
Yeah, and again, all these numbers, they don't even represent DVD and Blu-ray sales. And Phantom Menace went through the roof with DVD
merchandise
sales.
and,
Yeah.
and high-end.
So
Billions and billions.
we all do complain about those movies, but we all saw them probably 3 times in the theater.
Well, it just wasn't the movie we wanted to see.
and nobody was. He
I
was
think
never
there
going to be able
might
to
have
do
been
that.
an underlying issue of why some of those, why you would see the first 3 do so well, and I think it actually ties into Legos. And I know you might laugh at that, but when Lego got the license to make Star Wars Legos in 1999 or 1998, and started producing them, right, originals plus the Phantom Menace,
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that indoctrinated a whole new series of kids at that time into it. And now Lego is one of the largest toy companies in the world,
Right.
and they're going gangbusters on that.
Are they still an independent company, or
They're
are
still
they?
an independent company, absolutely.
That's cool
And
that
I
they
think
haven't been snatched
I
up.
think, you know, that's a, and I know you might scoff at that, but I think if you look at that, that was a underlying way to get into an 8-year-old or a 7-year-old,
There it is.
and continue on since 1999. So that's almost 15 years, and now they're prepared to see the new Star Wars features.
I don't think I can agree with your view that Legos is what did it, as opposed
Oh
to the
no,
gigantic
I don't think it was one of
cultural
them. I
juggernaut
think it
that is-
was something that helped it along a
Oh,
little.
sure, yeah, the marketing.
Because you
certainly
also
helped.
have what they call adult fan of Legos who collect the crap out of that stuff, and now
You sound like maybe you know one.
I know I read about
Somebody?
it.
Okay.
I read about it.
I read.
This is a man who's had several painful foot injuries.
But you're right. If you find a 10-year-old, somebody who was 10 years old in 1990 who was into the Legos, a lot of those 10-year-olds will tell you that those original, those first 3 movies, episode 1, 2, and 3, are their favorites.
Yeah.
And they even
R2-D2 on
find-
your 6.
Absolutely.
They might find a movie like Empire Strikes Back where Luke's learning how to use the Force and Dagobah in the swamp. They might find that a little boring.
That's true.
So there is a whole
'Cause it was
generation.
slow. It was slow.
It was slow, and there's depending on what the generation. Our generation thinks that the prequels were not for us, but then
Plus-
there's kids out there who love it.
It's also that those scenes are probably a lot harder for modern kids to really latch onto because it's puppetry.
Yes,
yes.
yes.
The early,
That's true.
Early hints in puppetry. So
They might think that Yoda looks stupid.
right,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's, obviously, to us back then, they were convinced that are they going to buy this? Are they going to buy it when it was originally released? But man, we ate it up, man.
Absolutely.
Yoda was totally real to us.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I think the practical effects of 4, 5, and 6 really hold up, even all these years
I
later.
think so too.
I
I mean, obviously they look a little dated, but still fantastic.
Some of the stop motion really looks like stop motion, but you're right. It does hold up.
I'd like to see those practical effects not only in this film, but in this Rogue One movie, which is going to take place just
Right.
the same time frame as the 1977 movie. So shouldn't it look like that? Shouldn't it feel like that?
Yeah.
There's probably more pressure on that director, whoever
It-
has to put that movie together.
It won't, though. You know it won't, because
I mean-
it just won't.
The ships have to look like the ships from back then, don't they?
Well, yeah, but of course they will. I mean, they'll use modern special effects, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, first of all, I don't know where you would find the expertise in that skill set to
to build that
There's
stuff.
still
Yeah,
a huge
anymore.
there's a huge industry out there who are
I'll tell you.
mostly out of work because of CGI. Just dying to get back into the job. And
Yep.
Just dying of old age.
Or
That
too.
in building the store, I came across a guy called Jason Eaton. I think we've talked about him before.
Ghostbusters.
And no.
He built the Ghostbusters car. At least that's on his Facebook page.
Oh, did
doesn't
he?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. What I found was I found him through he did videos of a remember the blimp in Blade Runner?
Blade Runner.
Yeah, the big Blade
Yeah,
Runner.
yeah.
one? He built a half-scale replica of that, and it's incredible. Like he used his connections in Hollywood to get the full. Like you only see like maybe 10 seconds of footage on the screen.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
There's like
And they spend weeks and months making these things that's
There's
going
like
to
a
get
minute-
3 seconds of screen time.
There's like a minute and 40 seconds worth of like, a prolonged smoking ad and all that.
Right.
But he got the whole reel, and it's all pin lights and the whole thing. But he's a genius with that stuff, and his like everything on his Facebook is he's a professional model maker. So
Yep.
so he seems like the perfect fit for being drug into a project like that. Like he would excel at that. I think he works for one of not Sideshow, but it's something very similar to that. It's a company very similar to that. But man, he's
Oh yeah, very talented. If you ever went to his webpage,
he's
which I think
incredible.
is just his name, Joshua
Jason Eaton.
JasonEaton.com.
Yes.
I remember discussing that with
Am I
you.
knocking you off? Check it out.
What?
Yeah, it's I'm chasing my microphone around the.
It'd be neat at
What
some
are you
point to
doing?
like put the extra long wire on one of those mics and hand it out to the crowd, just to, hey, what's going on? How you feeling out there sitting for 3 hours? Like they're gonna watch a 2-hour and 15-minute movie. They're gonna sit there for 3 hours and 15 minutes.
I wanted to mention before my time was up. There's I don't know how much time I have. I'm in a haze.
5 minutes to 9.
It's all a blur. You mentioned earlier the prequels, and what I always say is they're not the movies I would have made.
Right.
But it's kind of cool. I follow a guy called he calls himself Belated Media on YouTube, and I think I just shared his third video in a series that he did called "What If the Star Wars Prequels Were Actually Good?"
Right.
And they're really clever. It's cool. It's not just him bashing these things, but he's postulating a theory on like he presents his own version.
I watched the first one and it's amazing.
It's good, right? Yeah, and he's very clever and very funny and funny in all the right places. It's very, very cool.
And I literally wish that movie would have been made because that movie was 10 times the movie that Phantom Menace
man.
was.
It's cool because it's got a lot of emotional drive. He catches a lot of things that maybe even George missed in the writing of these things that just made more sense.
He's the one who started out with Anakin being like 17, right?
Correct.
He just said no kid.
Yes.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
But it's
brilliant.
It's great because like Owen Lars is an integral part of the
okay.
Circle Age. Like he's involved with that friendship and the whole thing. But man, it's really good. So I suggest it's Belated Media on YouTube. Look it up. But it's very clever stuff, and he just released the one for like the third in that trilogy. What was it? Revenge of the Sith were actually good. So watch them if you get a chance. It's really good. Where are we at?
We're at 9 o'clock.
We don't rest here.
No, there's no
Argyles.
commercial breaks here because we have no sponsors.
That's right.
But
We got 2
we're
hours.
working on
Oh
that.
yeah, I
as
was
always.
like, "Where's our Coke ad? Our Coke ad's gone."
So are we at the halfway point? What time did we start at 6?
Yeah.
No, we're past the
We're
halfway
past
point.
halfway.
We've done 3 hours
3 out
already.
of 5.
Hell yeah, 3 hours.
We're at 3 hours
How
here.
mu- You guys did what? 6 the other day for the Star Wars thing?
Yeah,
We
we
did.
sat for all 6 6
3.
hours of that. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Did you end up showing the first 3 films then?
No, they showed the Clone Wars cartoon.
Oh, that's right,
Clone
right.
Wars were good.
He didn't want to empty the store out. It's bad business to run Phantom Menace.
That's right.
You made the right call.
That's right.
So I imagine one of our other trips to seeing this movie perhaps will be at the new movie theater at the Artigan now that they are, up and running again.
I hope so. Yeah, that'd be great.
Were they not
They
running?
it was owned by Cinemark, and then apparently 4 months ago they sold it, and the theater went under renovations for a while, and they've just recently reopened after spending a couple $1 million on renovations.
I did not know that.
We were
Did
hoping
not know
those
that.
renovations would have been an IMAX theater, but apparently that hasn't happened, or we would have heard that.
Yeah, we totally would have heard that. The one thing that I did notice is that it's still branded outside as a Cinemark. So I don't know if they kept the branding.
Sometimes when I take photos in there, it still brands itself as Festival Bay Mall. When it does the calendar where it tags where your photo is
I
taken.
see what you did there.
Yes.
Damien, you have 3 children. Have you introduced them to the Star Wars
Ooh, this is a good
movies?
point. This is a good question.
Weird segue.
Yes, I've started introducing them to them. Actually, we're going to try to watch all 6. I mean, I'm going to put them through the first 3.
Give us the ages real quick. 11?
11 and 2 9-year-olds.
11 and 2 9-year-olds.
And
Perfect.
did you start
Perfect
them
age.
on episode 4 and watch it, and you're watching in the right order, or
Well, actually,
Numerical.
I'm going to go numerical.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to expose them that way.
Oh,
through
you know
it.
what?
Because we were talking
He's got a
last
point.
week about the progression of if you watch it from the first movie, from Phantom Menace all the way through, a lot of those wow moments are kind of telegraphed.
You missed
because
one of the biggest
you know
wow
everything
moments in
already.
cinema.
Like, yeah, like
Oh, absolutely.
Like for instance, yeah, you know that by that time, of course.
Blank.
Yeah.
Anakin
Blank,
is-
I'm your father. See, I
Yeah.
didn't want to give it away.
Yeah, right.
But that's lost on a whole generation of kids, and I watched it with my 7 and my 12-year-old. The 7-year-old said, "Yeah, you didn't know that." Like when he shouted that out, "I am your father," because it's just like common knowledge. She knows that.
However, because we mentioned that there are parts of the original and Empire that are a little slow, it's possible
Right.
you could lose them in the middle of watching that original trilogy.
Right.
That's true, and that is a possibility. You know, they have been exposed through it through merchandising and, you know,
Sure.
video games and stuff like that, so they have a simple understanding of what Star Wars is, but I don't think in their minds, even an 11-year-old can have tied it all together like an adult. They would need to watch it, and I think they would be interested in all of it, and I don't think they have the stamina to see through all of them at one night, but
Right.
over the next few weeks, we'll get that knocked out and then see the family
I don't
movie
know.
together.
It's tough. So you're going to watch them 1 through 6
We're
in
going to watch
that
it 1
order.
through 6, yeah.
It's going to be tough to sit through all those Trade Federation disagreements and government action.
That was one kind of cool thing. There's a, oh man, I don't know the name of the guy that did it. I watched something this morning about somebody who had recut the prequel trilogy.
Okay.
Cut it down to like bare bones and made it kind of watchable, I guess. But one of the things that's
As a
one of the-
flashback.
one of the things that kind of stood out was the Gungans and the Nemoidians, the Trade Federation
Right.
aliens, were all dubbed over with like alien sound and subtitle.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. They changed some of the dialogue in the subtitles.
Made the dialogue
to,
better.
to make the Nemoidians much less cowardly.
Interesting.
And it was really smooth, man. And
Clever.
Just
and,
watching episode 1 again recently, I'm thinking now that's a great idea.
Basically took out all of the useless Jar Jar stuff and made him a useful character. Like he's the one that provides the bongo that gets them to the surface. Like there's no
They change his voice
they take
too?
out big chunks of stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah. It's more like it's grunty and kind of
Interesting,
it's
but not
really
in
cool.
English, so it's
not
all
in English.
subtitled.
Yeah. It's pretty neat.
Wow, that could be the way to fix that movie.
Absolutely.
Disney owns it. Now, that's another question I don't know about legally. Disney owns it. They own everything now. Everything Lucas has ever done or thought of, they own.
I want to
But
see
did
the
he-
paperwork with the
I wanna
trade-off.
see the
wanna
paperwork, too.
How many times is it? More times you have to sign than when you're buying a house, or less?
Or is it
times?
just one signature?
Yeah.
Or a
yeah. Is it
thumbprint?
one document
Or
at the end? You
it's
just
in
go
blood.
like,
As much Disney stock as they gave him, it had to have been written in blood.
You have to make a speech in the Galactic Senate.
So my question is, I just forgot what we were just talking about. Okay, George Lucas.
George Lucas.
Do you think he had something written in his stack of papers that he signed to Disney that says you're not allowed to make changes to my movies that I've made changes to 5 times?
I don't think
Like,
you
what
get.
if Disney
I-
says in 20 years, you know what? We're going to fix those first 3 movies. We're going to do what you said
that's
and change the
clever.
dialogue and
So you're
I-
saying a director's cut or a
Disney
Like a
cut.
Disney
Disney.
cut.
I
I'm
think
betting
they-
he's not. I'm betting Disney's not allowed to mess with the original movies
Well, why would they want to?
because that's
To
still
fix them.
that's still Lucas's intellectual property.
Okay.
And he probably still owns the copyright
Okay.
to those films.
Something else I found out. That's what I was guessing too. Something else.
Let me
Go
say,
ahead.
I'm sorry,
Go
I'm
ahead,
gonna
please
interrupt.
continue.
I think it's very interesting that every nerd with $50 in his bank account is absolutely convinced that they could have made a better film than the one that made $1 billion
Armchair quarterback.
and is one of
yeah.
the 50 biggest grossing films in the history of the universe. And that we sit here saying, "Oh yeah, no, we could recut it. We could subtitle it. We could do anything. we have Photoshop. We could improve
However,
it."
if you had seen what Todd was talking about earlier, this
Oh,
guy
yeah,
who
the
made the
video.
film, he actually put together a video of with clips and then some hand-drawn stuff, hand-animated.
It's very cleverly done.
Very worth watching.
I'm not saying it's not worth watching. I just think it's an interesting phenomenon.
Yeah, if you would have handed that guy $70 million, he could have made a trilogy that would have blown your socks off. I mean,
well,
really
I'm not saying that guy's not talented. I just think it's interesting that we're all sitting
Monday
here absolutely convinced that we're smarter than Lucasfilm.
Yep.
And not a single one of us has made a film that's made $1 billion.
And every one of
there
us
you go.
says, well, it's not the film I wanted to see, but the film I wanted to see is not the film Todd
Right.
wanted to see, and it's not the film Art wanted to see.
I mean, that's going to be the case even with this film. It's not going to be the film. We've all got it in our head, and we had 30 years to put that film in our head.
Sure.
And now whatever we see today, it's going to be like, well, that wasn't what I wanted, but I still loved it.
There's also, alternately, there's a guy called, who goes by Adiwan on YouTube, who has gone to great lengths to re-edit and clean up and change around the original trilogy, like the things that, like, whenever you saw Vader walking around with a white stick and
Right.
all that stuff. But he goes so far as to, like, well, he wasn't as impressed with, like, a lot of the Dagobah scenes with, like, the swamp. He thought that the swamp looked too fake, so he built sets.
Oh, wow.
And got his, and it looks fantastic. Like, it looks really, really cool.
Very interesting.
Added a lot of like stuff to the Hoth footage with new soldiers and new fighters. It's killer.
And yet we're all furiously angry about the revised editions.
Right, I know. I know. Yeah, but those are available again for free. I think if he's not done with Jedi should be out any time now. But it was funny. He actually reached out. I forget how we came together, but I ended up providing him figures from my last job.
Oh, really?
To use for his animatics when he was doing pre-production on Jedi. So he's probably done with Jedi by now. But really nice guy, really talented guy.
I think he would have had it released in time before this happened.
Sure, yeah, right, probably.
Todd, this is a non sequitur, but you were talking earlier about what are we watching on television?
Yeah.
I've been watching Blunt Talk.
Oh, that
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
Sure. How is that?
I think it's
Yeah?
really excellent. Jonathan Ames is one of the major creative forces. He is an actor and a writer, and he was involved with Bored to Death on
I'm
which is
aware,
good.
sure.
But no, I think it's very good.
Schwartzman, right? Jason Schwartzman, Bored to Death?
Yeah, Jason Schwartzman was the star of that.
Sure. And Ted
and-
Danson playing a
Yeah, I
complete
love Ted
plot.
Danson in that movie,
Yeah.
in that show. I'm a big fan.
The
of
trailers
that.
for it look fantastic, and it really looks like Patrick Stewart gets a real opportunity to stretch out his acting chops.
Well, it is. It's very interesting. Stewart, here's R2D2, guest star on the podcast.
What's up, R2?
We did a half-hour interview with him earlier.
Dude, yeah, it was great.
Spectacular. Was it all subtitled or?
Greatest half hour of my life.
Todd practically did a one-on-one interview. He just wheeled right up here, and we just talked to him for a half
Oh,
hour.
it was great. Very insightful.
He's
Like,
been flirting with me for like a half hour.
there's so much rage.
I want to interview that Princess Leia who keeps walking
Rage.
behind us.
Rage.
But I think Blunt Talk is excellent. It's Patrick Stewart, of course, is in the 70s or something
Right.
now, but he's playing a talk show host in L.A. and a talk show host who gets in all sorts of romantic and sexual misadventures and drinks too much, and then a lot of the other supporting characters are older, because they've been working with him for years. So it's interesting to see a show where the characters are
Californication
not 25
a la
years old.
Stewart.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I just love that he saw that script and didn't pass on it because it just seems like so unlike him, and I'm so happy that he did that. Everything's
I think it's
recording?
absolutely worth watching.
I get so scared that we look over and be like,
happening?
"Oh, it's not recording."
Oh,
No, we're fine. We're doing quite well.
we lost everything.
No. Periscope might be hit or miss just based on cell phone
Now Periscope
tower
is
availability.
is-
That's live.
That's live.
That's
really.
live on Twitter, and then you take the Twitter link and you send it to your Facebook page.
Oh, cool.
So that's what I did earlier. So you should be able to.
Is that the one where they're able to respond in real time? And
Yes, they can respond in real time. Unfortunately, I can't see the screen to know.
Oh,
They can
man.
put the hearts on the screen. They can ask you questions live.
Anyone who has sent us questions or hearts, thank you.
I appreciate the hearts. and
I
the
appreciate
thank you.
that.
Yeah.
Just when you think that the internet has brought you every opportunity for making a fool of yourself at
I
the speed of
know.
light, here comes
We
Periscope.
come up with some new way.
If we had internet, we could watch it here on the screen as the questions popped up, but we do not have internet. All we have is phone.
I saw
Is it
a
still there?
I saw a news item a little while ago about a young woman in Lakeland, Florida,
Yeah.
who decided to Periscope herself driving home wasted.
Yes, and she was quickly arrested.
Yeah, and someone who was watching called the police and said,
Right.
she's driving a red Toyota and she says she's going.
She did not get a heart.
Right.
No
No.
hearts for you, ma'am.
She probably did, actually. Just people egging her
Right.
on, like, woo,
Yeah,
keep going.
Well, actually, I understand that she got in sort of a flame war with people saying, "Pull the car over, you drunk bitch," and it's like, no,
Like,
"Don't
for
tell me
real,
what to
come
do."
on.
I'll show you. I'm
I
going to
like-
keep driving.
I got this. Look, y'all.
So what else? We're talking about movies here. Of course, Star Wars. Between now and 2 weeks from now, that'll be the deadline for Academy Awards for this year for films.
Is that true?
Yeah, they always have to come out before
Sure.
the year is over. Of course, I'm very curious to see Quentin Tarantino's movie, The Hateful Eight.
Hell yeah.
But are there any other movies that you guys know of that are coming out that you'd like to see?
Well, we did. Let's see, X-Men. I guess that new
Oh,
X-Men.
did you watch that
Again,
trailer?
Haven't,
No, the
haven't
trailers.
watched anything.
All right.
But I'm interested in it because Olivia Munn.
Oh,
Olivia
Olivia
Munn as
Munn.
Psylocke. What? Okay.
So great.
You're lovely. Yeah, she's
What was
Newsroom,
the,
right?
What was the yes, and Attack of the Show? Did you ever watch
Yeah.
that show?
Oh, sure.
That's where she got started.
Yeah.
Oh, she would be in the Wonder Woman costume at Halloween time. Oh,
Man.
Moment
and
of
I'm back.
silence.
And I'm back. And yes, the X-Men, of course, the Star Trek trailer, but that's next summer. That's the
Sure.
summer movie.
It's
But
always,
any movies you're looking forward to seeing that are like Academy Award worthy movies that are coming out? Trumbo was one we mentioned earlier.
I'm not sure what the
What's that?
Revenant, I think,
No, I'm
with
good, thank
Leonardo DiCaprio, if I'm saying it correctly.
Oh, the one where he got attacked by the bear?
Yes.
What's that called?
Revenant?
Yes. Based on a true story, it said? Loosely based on a true story?
True events.
Events.
story.
actually written by the bear.
Oh, from the bear's point of view.
That's right.
It's about time we heard from the bear's perspective
That's right.
on some of these films.
Right. Well, there
Yeah.
were a lot of bear lobby groups, and they really pushed for a true telling of the stories.
I wonder if a movie like this can be doing so well in Rotten Tomatoes to be in the high 90s that there can be consideration for J.J. Abrams for a director.
Man, wouldn't that be amazing
Right.
for something like a space opera? Like
I mean,
that to
Lucas
get,
was nominated for director and nominated for Best Picture in '77.
Was he up
lost,
for director?
He lost Annie Hall and lost. You know what?
yeah.
Maybe not director. Let me take that back. But I know it was nominated for Best Picture, and he lost to the Woody Allen film, and then it took all the way up until the Lord of the Rings: Return of the King for those movies to finally get recognized with the Academy. I wonder if it's time again, if it's going to be rated this high, at this close to the end of the year when it's fresh in everyone's mind. I wonder if that's what the thought was all
That
along.
might be part of the strategy.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know. I want to take a look around to see.
going on?
I mean, all these
going
people
on?
are sitting down.
I think that guy's tooth problem is okay. Yeah, I think
All right,
he's
it worked
okay.
itself out.
I think
it was
worked
probably
itself out.
popcorn related. You know how
It
popcorn
may
and
have been
teeth.
popcorn
Let's
related.
hope it was.
Let's ask him.
I'm not going to throw popcorn out of the equation. Could have been, but he was really in there. Man. He was ready to go.
See, the thing is, I want to hand a mic over to the people in the crowd, but then the thing is,
That's a recipe for inanity.
my
Art.
they
God.
can't hear me talking to them because
Oh,
I'd have to
that's
get
true.
headsets all the way over there as well.
You got to be
And
part
I
of
don't
the
want
cool
to do.
crowd.
I don't want to be.
All right.
I didn't want to get that involved.
Make a long moment of meaningful eye contact with Todd Fisher, whose
right.
job it is to talk to random nerds all day.
That's right.
Right.
And get his advice on that idea.
But these
I've
are the
got
people.
this.
These are the people on the front lines.
That's right.
They're the ones that know what it's like to be out here today.
We're not sitting in line.
No.
We're just over here doing like.
We're on the
nerd
internet.
stuff.
We're hovering in cyberspace.
That's right.
I wonder if the show that I'm seeing tonight at 1:40 a.m. I'm wondering if there's a line for that somewhere here,
You're right.
and if I'm allowed to sneak into it when this is all over.
I presume that Kevin would allow you the same concession that he is allowing us.
I'll have to ask him. I asked him to come and sit with us, and if he did sit with us, maybe I could ask him that question. I'd put it like the second or third question if he was to come and sit with us, but I will. He's got his megaphone in his hand again, which means maybe he's about to make another announcement. Most of those announcements he's been making outdoors, I believe, because I've only heard the megaphone maybe once here.
Speaking of,
Somebody must have done something if he's pulling out the megaphone.
he's going to berate us all.
That's right.
Speaking of geek media, who's watching Ash versus Evil Dead?
Oh, I haven't yet. It's on
Not
Stars,
seen
and I
that.
don't get that.
And it's weird. It's one of those things where I haven't watched the trailers. I hear they're great, but
Live on
but
Periscope. Little thumbs up. I have Xfinity, so I have the app on my Kindle, so I could watch it.
Is he homeless?
I'm not sure if
Sure
he
if
is.
he's homeless.
If he is, he'll be warm and
Does
safe
he need
tonight.
a sandwich?
Tonight he'll be warm and safe. I don't have the I have the Xfinity, so I haven't watched it. So I'm planning on doing a marathon with that. But have you watched the first episode?
I have watched the first 7 episodes.
And how
yes.
is it?
It's very good. The art direction is really spot on. I mean, it's really hitting it where it's obviously it's set years later. You know,
Is Raimi involved at all?
yeah, I believe he's executive producer or something.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously Bruce Campbell back as Ash Williams.
Right, and probably producing as well.
Maybe Rob Tappert. Is Rob Tappert back? Do you know?
I do not know if Mr. Tappert is involved, but no, the art direction is very good. Obviously, television has a problem in that it takes up a lot of hours. Right. So, I mean, a movie like The Force Awakens is literally burning up millions of dollars a minute on its effects and so forth, where television can't possibly afford to spend that much, and therefore it has to do, more with less. But the art direction is very good. It looks the way you want it to look. It's got that sort of kind of rundown, secondhand feel that the movie's always had, and that when that first Deadites head explodes in just that supernova of corn syrup, you're like, yes.
Are these half-hour episodes or hour?
Well, technically 25 minutes, of course, because the half an hour, which means it kind of cooks along at a pretty good pace.
You gotta pick up the pace.
And how many episodes are out right now? Do you know?
7 episodes so far. I'm not really sure. My concern about it is that the mythology isn't really very complex. Ash keeps bumping into the Deadites, basically. So. If you can stretch that to cover a couple of seasons of television.
So they're not expanding the story.
Well, but you can see that they are. I mean, they've added characters, obviously. Ash has a couple of people he's kind of adventuring with, sidekicks, and they're introducing, they introduced a demon, Elagos, who is different than the other ones we've encountered so far. So
is he kind of the big bad?
Well, that remains to be seen. He's certainly a powerful and sinister force.
But he's an ongoing character in it, though.
He's appeared in, I think, 2 or 3 episodes at this point. Yes.
Any sightings of the Book of the Dead at all?
Yeah. No, that's in there. Yeah. Okay. No, it's everything you want. The Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Remington from the sporting goods section, just anything that you want to be in Evil Dead is there. So I recommend it.
Definitely, yes. I'll be doing a binge watch on that for sure. Groovy. Need to do that also for Clone Wars. I missed the last 2 seasons of that cartoon of the Clone Wars.
Good stuff. That Rebels is also cooking along very well.
Yes. Is that which one's the Lego one?
The Lego one?
Yeah, there's a Lego one on Cartoon Network.
Is there really?
Yeah, where Star Wars? Most of the episodes start out with C-3PO, who starts to tell a story about, and then he flashes back to Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi.
I knew that they had done specials, but I didn't realize they had an ongoing show. That's
I watched
cool.
it with Rodney one day at work. We really do work, but not that day. I can't remember what the heck is called. Star Wars, not Rebels. That's the other one. Star Wars, the kids would know. But it's always C-3PO reflecting back and telling the story, and it's just super short versions of the original 3 movies.
Weird.
I never even heard of that.
It's on Cartoon Network or it's on Cartoon Network, I believe.
Other, I guess, exciting nerd news. Did you guys hear about the Paramount? First of all, I don't know if any of these licenses mean anything to anybody else, but I guess Hasbro and Paramount are doing a shared universe of, go with me now, Visionaries.
Todd, if you actually lean back, we'll hear you better.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Visionaries.
Yeah.
Mask. G.I. Joe, of course.
Okay.
I think Gem.
Ew.
I know. Well, it's in there, but I think they've already, that ship has sailed. Rom the Space Knight, if anybody remembers Rom. Anybody remember Rom?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a property
silver armor with the red light.
Yeah.
Red eyes.
Oh, right, Damien.
There's a property
Damien
long overdue
on
for a
his
series.
Rom game right now. Very good. Oh man, I know that there was more to it.
The Oregon Trail.
The Oregon Trail. It's going to be so weird. No, but I guess they're trying to push for a shared universe kind of thing with these odd franchises. I've always wanted to see it. I never would have dreamed. Oh, and Micronauts. Micronauts.
Oh,
Holy crap, right? Yeah.
All together in one universe?
I buried the lead on that one.
Wow.
Micronauts. Always want a Micronauts movie or anything Micronauts. Because Micronauts was so instrumental in my. Do you know? Are you familiar?
You know what? I've heard of the Micronauts.
Sure.
I was hoping you were going with those little
machines.
Muscle Man wrestle guys.
Oh,
what were
muscle.
they called?
Muscle things.
Muscle?
Yeah,
Okay,
muscle
muscle.
things. Yeah, they were an acronym. I forget what the acronym stood for.
I don't know.
I'm not a true nerd.
I can barely remember what CHUD was. Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers.
There it is. Very good.
The Micronauts were like one of the first posable action figures, not very well put together, but
that's right. They
predated Star Wars.
They predated Star Wars. They were, I believe, through Takara at the time, or Tomy from Japan as Microman. but they were released over here to great fanfare. The box art was beautiful. Like they had this really cool like photographic effect that was unseen up until that point. It was very dramatic. But you had those, and then they brought in bad guys with like glow-in-the-dark brains, and it was really cool. Really cool stuff for 4-year-old Todd.
Yeah,
It was very, very cool.
All right.
Not according to your description of it.
4-year-old Todd got presents?
Right?
In the orphanage.
Toys?
But it was cool. They had really elaborate, kind of interconnectable, interchangeable vehicles and play sets and buildable play sets. Really cool stuff. But like with air tubes that could shoot the guys through the city. It was really cool. Really neat. And the majority of the figures, the guy figures, were transparent color, like translucent colors, with silver heads and things. They're very dramatic looking toys. But yeah, I always thought, and then of course Marvel Comics put out Micronauts comics for several years that were really good sci-fi, and so I became very attached to these characters. So seeing them maybe coming to the screen is like a big deal. But then Mask, I don't know if you guys remember Mask, Mobile Armored Strike Command.
No, I don't.
I remember
that either.
this. I remember.
That was with Eric Roberts, right?
That's
No,
right.
no.
Yeah.
No, Eric Stoltz.
Stoltz.
You killed your own joke there.
That would have been amazing though.
Good joke ruined. Damn it.
No.
You can't.
Or
you
the-
can't go back and do a second
or
take
the
on
joke.
Periscope.
Art can edit it together.
Right. Or the joke amplified?
Right.
Question mark?
So is this a definite with this merger
This has happened. Yeah, this is happening.
for the big screen?
It's true. Yes.
Although no one has heard about it except for
Right.
Tom.
This is yesterday.
You
This
heard it
is-
here
yeah.
first.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
Paramount
that
heard it
guy,
here
I'm
first.
sorry to interrupt, but that guy is committed. He's
Which
got
one?
Emperor
Oh, man, he sure
Palpatine
is.
on one calf and what looks
we're
like
looking at
Looks
tattoos.
like a good and evil leg
Luke
sleeve.
and Leia on
Two
the other.
separate leg sleeves.
Temporary tats, do you think?
Hopefully it's henna.
Yeah, totally henna.
I don't think it's henna.
I think
don't
he's
think
in
that's
it.
henna.
I think he's all in.
He's all in. Yeah,
I guess that's better than Justin Bieber.
that's right. Those.
Although if you squint,
your
if you
aggressive
squint with Mark
evil.
Hamill in those early films, not too much different.
Oh, that's true.
Seeing a little bit of a police presence here. Just kind of walking around very casually. It's been very.
I feel safer.
It's been.
Keeping us safe. That's right.
It's been really. It's not the type of atmosphere where you're going to see people bumping into each other and fighting and stuff like that. It's just more of a little heightened security.
Let the hate flow through you.
On the count of 5, I'm going to cold cock
Now
Todd.
I believe. I
do it.
believe it's now been 2 hours and
1,
20 minutes, and
2.
if you count trailers, people should be coming out now of the theaters from the
Any
first
minute
showing
now.
any minute now. We'll
I'm happy to have earphones on.
yes.
But I know some jackass is going to come out here and
We
say
will.
something.
Yeah, we'll switch over to elevator music that we'll
Right.
just turn on
Peop-
lightly.
People will come tumbling out of the theater with tears streaming down their faces, committing seppuku with lightsabers.
I think the way this works is they usually like people to exit at the upstairs, and so they may actually exit
that
out
would
and
be
may
genius.
they may not come to the lobby at all, which is the hope.
I think they should have been contractually obligated
I
to
think
wear
that's the only.
gags.
Right.
I'm sorry. I think that's the only way it can happen because they've got all the exits over
Right.
here blocked
Okay.
up,
Like, so,
and those are the exit doors.
leaving us
Kevin?
off?
I think so.
I was just going to ask him.
So sitting at this table, we will be showered in their tears.
Hopefully they're tears of
Call him
joy.
over. He's a busy fella. He's a busy guy.
I don't know. Kevin's still got that megaphone.
Yeah.
Something's going down.
Well, it's the showing's about to let out, and they got
Let's
a
watch.
shit ton of popcorn to clean up.
Right.
But the dedicated fans, though, will probably stay till the end because now you never know. Every movie has to have a fake ending
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
And all the discarded popcorn is swelled from the tears of the
Or
the
for that-
aforementioned tears.
For the one fan who just wants to see if there was some sort of special thanks to George Lucas in the credits, and they're going to stick around for it.
I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm very optimistic. I think I'm going to go home tonight, just put on my Boba Fett
I'm hearing
outfit
a
and break out a
climax.
bottle of baby
Yeah, I'm
oil.
hearing a
That sounds about
rumbling.
right.
They just blew up the Death Star again. I'm also curious about the beginning of the movie. Just the simple 20th Century Fox fanfare will not be there.
Right.
Is it going to be
Oh.
Disney
Oh,
Castle?
I didn't realize that.
20. Oh, that's another
It
fun
will-
fact.
that-
It'll be
I
the
mean,
it'll be
it's-
the castle,
better
It'll be Disney
iconic.
Castle.
and an X-wing fighter will go over the top of it.
I did read in my fun facts note that Fox still owns distribution rights for the first 6 films until the year 2020. I didn't realize that. I thought everything was going to go to Disney.
But for this film, there will be no fanfare. There will be no 20th Century Fox.
Unless Disney came up with their own version of it. Because to hear one and then go straight to the Star Wars theme is always, you expect to hear them side by side.
Maybe they'll do something like they did with Tron and make a very stylized version.
Like the castle was all
the
neon.
castle.
That's very good. Because the fanfare, the 20th Century Fox fanfare, prepared you for what was about to explode onto the screen, which was,
Oh, talk about the biggest cocktease in cinema. Anytime as a kid when I heard the fanfare for another 20th
Century Fox film.
Star Wars is on.
Yeah.
Or Indiana Jones.
I actually sounded like that as a child. Star Wars.
Yep. No, that's it's a downer now. Anytime you hear the 20th Century Fox theme and it's not Star Wars.
Yeah.
I have to say I tried to go all old school, and after the second trailer, I just stopped watching anything that related to
Very
Star
good.
Wars commercials.
We discussed this
Any
earlier.
ads. It's like, I had to turn off shows, turn my
Right.
head, and I just want to experience the 1977 feel of walking
Right.
into the theater, not knowing what to expect, not knowing any of the characters, not even watching the stuff from Jimmy Fallon on his own little introduction thing that he got. Just going in and,
We are the
and
same
enjoying
way.
it. I don't want to see anything.
We've been trailer
Trailer
free since
Absolutely.
2003.
So you didn't see the third trailer?
I haven't seen it. No, not.
So you don't know that after a sweeping decision in the Galactic Senate, Han Solo and Chewbacca finally got married?
They're allowed to get married.
Get the fuck out of there. So
It was a controversial decision, but it's
at the
the
end of
law
this
now.
film, at the end of this film, is it a 100% chance that the audience applauds?
I think so.
Oh, absolutely.
Have you ever?
They even applauded after Phantom Menace.
I don't understand that practice of applauding at a film. Who's hearing that?
The people in the audience, it just
Yeah,
builds.
I know what you're
builds
saying.
it. I mean,
It's not-
the question is, do you think people are yelling out in the theater? I can't believe that just happened.
Gregory,
Right.
it's a sense of community.
Right. That's right.
Get with it.
Well, no, I mean, clearly it's a sense of community. I mean, I understand that. But I've never felt the interest in clapping after I've
Really?
seen a film.
Well, you don't
hasn't
understand that
been
these
moved.
people are Instagramming themselves clapping.
And how long have you been a member of the Communist Party?
Since 1966.
Before you were born? Before you were born.
Since all before.
Now look at this poor fella. He had to go to the restroom
is.
during the movie.
Oh.
He couldn't hold it.
It is absolutely.
Wait a second. He couldn't hold it, and he just ran back at what probably is the ending of
the
the
last
film.
30 seconds. It's
Do we have
absolutely
a-
bizarre.
Do we have a runtime?
He needed to buy
2:15?
Go Girl.
15.
They have a product for that.
A go-girl. It's so bizarre trying to do this show without headphones because you all sound like you're whispering. It's
funny.
really weird.
It's so loud. Yeah, it's so loud out here.
I can hand it back to you.
No, listen.
Sure.
So what if we just all took our headphones off?
Oh, then it would sound like a shit show.
Just-
yeah,
just
that sounds
be-
ridiculous.
Just go crazy, Tone Art. Just
Yeah.
buck the system, man.
Right.
You're the worst, Brian, because you have a very smooth, buttery,
You've got
low
the dark,
voice.
deep voice. You should be doing
And
after hours
you put your
radio.
you
The-
put your
the
mouth
word you're
right here
looking
on the
for is-
microphone, which sounds amazing.
But I
I
can't hear you.
I
The word
absolutely
you're looking
feel
for is erotic.
like I have got 3 dates for after this movie right now. As long as you all put on your Chewbacca outfits, I'm in.
So the next live 5-hour show we do, we'll figure out a way to get 5 or 6 headphones.
Right. That'll be in. What should we just do this once a year? For every Star Wars movie?
For every Star Wars movie.
Every
Right.
Star Wars movie.
You might want to mix it up.
We'll just
If
keep
they'll
doing
have
it
us back.
until Todd finally gets his own theater built in.
The next time they make a good
See,
X-Men movie.
I like that kind of enthusiasm. I like
Yeah.
that kind of forward thinking.
Yeah.
I like that. Next time, baby. Next time, baby.
Boy, but
that was my
2-5
Terrence Howard. Did you hear that? Next time, baby.
Well, if the theater there in the Artigan Marketplace is under new management, I mean, I really feel that Gods and Monsters ought to
There's a ruckus.
totally
some
hold
sort of
hands with
ruckus
it.
going
Oh,
on.
a ruckus?
The
Some
ruckus
form of
being-
ruckus?
The ruckus.
Can you describe the ruckus?
Could you describe the ruckus?
The ruckus
do they-
being people leaving the theater and probably these people just realizing, oh my God, we're about to finally go into the theater.
And the other people murdering the people that are talking.
Yeah, I thought maybe
Wait,
it was
he's
a
got
mass
his
shooter.
bullhorn?
Bullhorn.
What is he saying? Is he directing traffic?
Get him, Kevin! Get him! Don't take no shit, Kevin.
That's Kevin with the bullhorn? He's the manager?
Kevin's the general manager here who's allowed us
There he
the
is.
privilege of being
Kevin-
here this evening.
Kevin will whoop
Is
that
the first
ass.
film about to get out? And they're going to
Oh.
let out upstairs?
Oh, dear.
Oh, okay, so they opened up the gates for us here.
Man,
I
it's
tell
going to
you
be right there.
I am impressed with Kevin. Kevin looks like a serious man.
I hope that there's no one here who understands sign language, because I'm sure there's one nerd that's going to ruin things with sign language. Don't do it. He can see that I am protected with my headgear.
You can't leave.
Enough. There's too much nerd on nerd
I-
crime and violence. We can't have that.
I
Can't leave
expect
it.
some whoops, some hollers.
Perhaps.
Oh, here they are. We can see them now. Ladies and
we've
gentlemen,
just-
we can
we've just
see
gotta-
the first people coming out now.
We just got to
We should
double
applaud them.
thumbs
We should
up.
applaud them. Should we applaud them?
No.
No, we should not.
We should Instagram ourselves applauding them.
It's actually kind of interesting. A lot of them don't have Star Wars paraphernalia on them.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Oh, this is for Chipwrecked.
Greg
This
won't
is for
applaud the actual movie. You think he's going to applaud the people who are sitting in the movie?
this is for
Why, are you gonna walk around?
the new Amy Poehler film. Sisters. This is the 720 Sisters showing
Check,
is
check,
letting
check.
out.
It might be better to use that one.
I don't want to bother the people who
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing the first people coming out of the first showing. The first showing, they look wrung out. They look exhausted. They look
Thank you.
as if they've been through a marathon.
Oh, seventh inning stretch.
They look
My
like
God.
they've had a experience
The-
they will never understand.
The spoilers are obvious.
Yeah.
Tina Fey is Amy Poehler's father.
I always suspected